And that brings me to the next part.
Get to this picture again, same kind of story. A bunch of people would be happy if they were walking around like that all of the time. You can see most of his muscles. Simon Alert, Bald A-hole here. Thank you for joining me as always. Hopefully one of the last weird presentation videos, as tomorrow is the big day when I'm going to shift the rest of my stuff. Thank you very much for your patience. And everybody's talking about it. And I know that everyone is talking about it because I see the videos and then I check my Instagram DMs. It's always Instagram DMs. Be like, oh my gosh, can you believe it, Seid? He got really fat. So he did not, by the way. Absolute lies. So let's talk about I gave you the headlines, then we'll go through the video. So, you may know Seid. Jeff said, how do you pronounce his name? I presume it's Seid. I've watched his videos for ages. I just get confused because I'm an idiot. But he doesn't post as regularly as he once did. And every now and then he kind of flies back. And he did an Instagram post where he talked about how over the last however long he has been going on a dirty bulk. I think he said he put on 40 pounds. Again, we'll go through it in just 1 second. And for him, he felt like he got fat, I suppose, in his own words. Now, as you're about to see, I would call that absolute nonsense. But look, I totally do get it. I do have some thoughts on this. I have some very actually controversial, not the right word, but some very specific thoughts about this. So we'll get to that in just 1 second, but I digress.
I got fat, and the reason why I got fat is because I dirty bulked. Now, a dirty bulk is when you eat everything in sight to put on as much size and weight as possible. But there is one dilemma. You put on a lot of fat. And that's exactly what happened to me.
All right, so there you go. He's very honest in the opening 5-10 seconds, whatever that was. He said he went on a dirty bulk. That's why he went away for a while. And he did put on a bunch of fat. Now, he describes dirty bulking as basically eating as much as you want, right? You pick whatever food you want and you eat as much as you want. Now, that doesn't necessarily pertain to what a dirty bulk comes to be. Some people will dirty bulk, but they will still have the correct amount of grammage, right? They'll still weigh their food, but they'll eat whatever they want as opposed to just eating everything in sight. However, we're talking about very slight margins here. Now, the interesting part is we get to this picture here that will magically pop back up on the screen now. And look, if you're familiar with Jeff, you know that he's basically shredded all year round, right? He looks great, looks amazing, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's on stuff, maybe he's not. I just don't care. Let's just say that he is, and then we don't have to worry about it anymore. And there, sure, he's quite clearly in a bulking phase of his diet, quite a major bulking phase of his diet, and he's put a lot of weight on in his face. But two things. One, he still clearly has amazing genetics. I really, really want to hammer that home because, again, he's putting all that weight, but you can still see that he works out. You can still see separation between his muscles. And it may just be that when he does put on fat, he puts a lot of fat on in his face. We talked about this in a video this week in the weird setting. When I put on a lot of fat, it goes to my ass, and you can use it like a table if you want to be a psychopath about it. He obviously just puts on a lot of weight in his face. Hence why when you look at his face, like, holy crap, and you compare it to the body, and maybe it doesn't add up there. But yeah, there's no two ways about it. That definitely is a dirty bulk, or at least a bulk that has gone a long old way. But let's not pretend otherwise. How many of you out there, and I include myself in this too, just bulk and bulk and bulk and bulk? You're on the perma bulk, and there ain't nothing wrong with this.
So I bulked for 6 months. The first 4 months, I actually was pretty clean. I was very strict with the diet. I gradually was increasing the calories as my weight was going up, and I wasn't really gaining much fat. I just gained mostly muscle, and it was a pretty good time. Eventually, I got to 5,000 calories a day, and that's what I was eating every single day. And then the last 2 months of the bulk, I liked seeing the number on the scale just go up and up and up, so I decided, let's eat everything. Let's get huge.
So 6 months, 4 months, he was, keeping it clean. You got to remember that too. And then he gets up to 5,000 calories a day. Now, do I think you need to get up to 5,000 calories a day? No. Once again, I think Jeff is genetically gifted, I suppose is the best way to put it. Look, if you're working with a trainer or someone who's keeping an eye on you, then sure. And again, I don't know what you're training for. Maybe you're trying to be a strongman where you probably need to take on more than 5,000 calories. But if we are just talking about someone who is trying to stay in shape or build a little bit of muscle, I very much doubt you need 5,000 calories. Now, he mentions again that it was the last 2 months when he decided to dirty bulk. And that's kind of interesting because you'd have to imagine, and I think this is good to put in your brain as well, he likely did that again. He was enjoying the weight going up. He was enjoying putting on the size, put on mostly muscle, not very much fat. But then those last 2 months, he got super fat, use his own words, because he went on the mega dirty bulk, probably because he just got sick of it. And that does happen as well. You have to give yourself some time off and you have to accept that you're just a human being. And every now and then you're not going to want to weigh the amount of chicken you're having. You're not going to want to have these very specific 6, 7, 5 meals a day or whatever it is. Sometimes you're just going to want to go crazy. And there's nothing wrong with that, but everything in moderation, which is why it's good to plan a cheat meal, so far and so forth. So you just mentally stay strong. And sometimes to mentally stay strong, you got to be mentally weak for a little bit because you're thinking down the road.
I stopped doing cardio. I started eating everything. And hey, I put on size. I got up to 232 pounds. So I actually gained 40 pounds from the beginning of my bulk to the end of my bulk.
I like how he stopped doing cardio. Like, you can dirty bulk and keep doing cardio. I know nobody likes to do cardio, but it's good for you. Never forget that. It's not going to come away and eat all of your gains. It's good for your heart. And blah, blah, boring. But what is the most important muscle in the body? The heart.
Which is actually a lot of size to gain in 6 months.
And we just get to this picture here. I don't really think it matters what he just said there. I mean, some dudes would actually love to look like that all the time. That's ridiculous. I'm just looking at it down here in case you're wondering what I'm doing. But he's, you can still see his abs. You can still see some of his obliques. You can see his lats. You can still got vascularity in his arms. This, after putting on 40 pounds. Like, we should all be so lucky. This is what Kylie Minogue was singing about.
It was about 6.6 pounds a month. And I'll be honest with myself, and I know that it was not all muscle that I gained. It was a lot of fat. And that brings me to the next part.
Get to this picture again. Same kind of story. A bunch of people would be happy if they were walking around like that all of the time. You can see most of his muscles. But sure, once again, he has pulled the short straw where it comes to where he stores his fat. It goes to his face. I mean, he may be pulling a face, obviously, to try and make it look fat because it's good for this video, but I doubt that. I don't think you'd be able to fake it that much. And that's just what happens. I store a little bit in my ass, so a lot in my ass, and some in my face, and some in my stomach. Some people hold it in their chest. You find a lot of guys, when they're sort of getting to those final few percent they need to leave, it's their chest where they struggle to lose it from. There's no reason to it. You're already predisposed for it when you come out of the womb.
Dilemma, I had to shred very hard to lose all the fat. And unfortunately, I also lost a lot of the muscle, the newly built muscle that I gained from the bulk.
And that's what you got to remember too. If you want a dirty bulk, great, do it. I don't advocate for it, but I'm not going to stop you. But you have to remember, if you're going to have that much fluidity with your bulk, when it comes to your shred, your cutting part, you're probably going to have to be twice as disciplined as you would have done otherwise. It's why people like to main gain these days, right? Because you do a little bit here, a little bit there, and it just means you're still putting in the effort, but you don't have to go super duper crazy. And as Jeff said too, he lost all of his fat when he got into his shredding phase, his leading up phase, and he doesn't think he retained that much muscle. Now, that's a different conversation for a different day. I think if you're dirty bulking and training hard enough, you are going to put on some muscle. But again, who knows? You never know what's going to happen with these things. Plenty of times people have tried to put on a bunch of size and then got back down into sort of single figure body fat digits and realized, no, it didn't really do much of anything, which is why sometimes it's better to keep lean and just add little.
The reason why I had to stop the bulk, and the number one reason why I think dirty bulking is not good, is it's very unhealthy. What happened to me personally is my blood pressure went through the roof, and I decided it's time to stop the bulk. It's time to stop dirty bulking, and it's time to shred.
And that is the most important part. Now, this is a guy, once again, I want to drive this home, who clearly has really good genetics. And even his body was like, screw this. And he got into very, very unhealthy territory with his blood pressure. And I'm not sure whether I've mentioned this before, but if you haven't bought one of those blood pressure machines, you should. You can get them off online for like 20 quid. I think Amazon sold them. I got mine from Argos. No idea if Argos exists in the States. Cost me 20 quid. You can just check it to make sure you're doing okay. Because once again, your health is the most important thing. And of course, if you do eat a bunch of food, negative food, bad food, of course that's going to have a consequence. You don't know what's going on with your blood pressure unless you check. You're going to screw up your cholesterol, which is another thing. Your cortisol levels are going to be raised because that's what happens when you eat junk food all the time. And you're just putting your body under a tremendous amount of stress. So, can you do it here and there? Of course you can, but make sure you're monitoring yourself. And I would say that make sure you're monitoring yourself. If you ever add something new into your program, be it some kind of drugs or some kind of supplement, whatever it may be, just keep an eye on it because you don't want to get to 40, 45 and look back and go, oh, why did I do that? It's not worth it. I know you feel invincible when you are younger, but eventually life kicks everybody's ass. So if you do want a dirty bulk, even though you have heard Jeff saying this, stands to reason he wanted to do it, so you're probably going to want to do it too. Just, again, take your blood pressure 3 times a week. That's what you got to do. It takes 45 seconds. It's exactly the same process as when you go to a doctor's surgery, and then you just know that you're okay.
Advice to you is do not dirty bulk. You need to bulk responsibly. Increase your calories gradually as your weight goes up. Keep doing cardio. Eat fairly clean. The most important thing is to keep your calories in a surplus. Be getting good sleep, getting good rest. And rest means not training. You're also gaining muscle when you don't train. You need to recover.
All really good advice. And all stuff that you should take on. There's not much more. Hopefully, forget the dirty bulk. Hopefully, that's what you take away from this video, because that will steer you in a far better direction than anything else.
You need to be honest with yourself. Evaluate your physique and the progress you're making, And look in the mirror. Don't just focus on the scale, your weight. Look in the mirror. See how much fat you're gaining. If you're gaining too much fat, not as much muscle, it might be time for you to start shredding and end the bulk. Would I recommend dirty bulking to you? No, I wouldn't.
And yeah, you should do that too. Again, scales is one great way to do it. Measurements are another good way. And just looking at yourself is another good way too. And don't trick yourself. If you're starting to think you're looking like a heifer, you're probably looking like a heifer. And he ends by saying, would he recommend dirty bulking? No, he would not. Now, of course, a bunch of people are still going to do it. But please do keep all this in mind. And please do remember, it is not a healthy thing to do. Back in the day, it was like, that's just what you did. Oh, man, you dirty bulk and then you shred. But you're going to make your life a lot easier if you just approach it with a more balanced mindset anyway. So why wouldn't you want to do that? You're going to be happier. I'm going to be happier. Everyone's going to be happier. Not that you have to worry about my happiness. Otherwise, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the bell, ding, ding, so you know when other videos are going live. Notification squad. There'll be a video on the screen somewhere. Please do give it a click. Green screen videos back next week. Thank Flubbins. Or maybe not green screen, but better than this stupid echo chamber. Otherwise, grillermind.com/Simon. Just go to Simon, get 10% off. These are supplements I use. I think they're very good. So if you'd like to use them, you can get some money off. Patreon.com/Simon316 for extra videos and to support the channel. Add Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter if you want to send me stuff like this. Also on Cameo if you want a shout out. I think that's everything. Just subscribe. That's all I care. And go put on another video and just leave it rolling. I don't care if you watch it. YouTube doesn't know. See you soon.